up and running. Ashley, do you
Okay.
have any questions first?
Um,
Talk to me. The idea here seems to be you got to change this, take it out of the legislature's hands. They don't trust the legislature to do it. Instead, they're putting their faith in a petition drive and then in voters. This, to me, though, strikes as a very voters may care, but I don't see people turning out at the ballot box to vote for this.
Well, it's a very complex issue that most citizens don't understand, and so there's a huge education effort that has to take place. I mean, it's daunting just to get the number of signatures. That's, the process is not easy. But then if you can't essentially put it on an envelope in terms of the slogan, then it's hard to it's hard to sell. When we did the cutback amendment, then people weren't exactly sure what cumulative voting was, but they knew that they were cutting the size of the legislature by a third. They were firing 59 politicians. That's easy to put on a bumper sticker and explaining redistricting and then writing a proposal that really gets to the complexity of what's involved with trying to draw maps is a very difficult task. And so this is going to be a hard sell. There's absolutely no question about it.
This to me is like it sounds like a flag burning type issue. A lot of people, or some people, will have very, very strong opinions about it. A lot of people will have some opinion about it, but I don't see it moving the meter. It's not when voters, when 1 in 10 people in the state is still out of a job, people aren't going to be as interested in this as direct issues that affect them.
Yeah, yes, it is an intensity issue. This is not something that people volunteer as being at the top of their priorities. It certainly is related to a lot of the problems that people see in state government, and having a different process might end up with a different legislature. I mean, there could be some long-term benefits from this, but it's very hard to connect the dots and to get people to build people's awareness and then to convince them that this is somehow they should care even when they're aware of it. So that's it is a very difficult task.
Procedurally, how difficult is this going to be to accomplish? Get the votes, survive the challenge, or get the signatures, survive the challenge, then get it onto the ballot, get it passed. It seems Herculean, at the least.
No, I think that the signature requirements are tough. Again, unless you've got something that you can really energize people on. The whole question of exactly what you can put into a citizens initiative has, the court decisions, and this is decided by the state Supreme Court, are, mixed at best. I mean, I think you can find legal opinion that this passes constitutional muster, but you can also find lawyers that will argue the other side of the question. So you could have a legal fight. Then, you have to get people to actually vote on the initiative. You've got to reach certain standards in terms of actually passing the initiative when it gets to the ballot. And anytime you change the status quo, then as we saw with the vote on CONCON, then people that in power may not like the system, but the tendency is to take the devil you know over the devil you don't know. And so it again, it's going to be hard to get a coalition of people with a lot of resources and a lot of power behind this kind of initiative, unless you can really make it broad-based grassroots, which the subject matter makes it difficult to accomplish that.
We're talking about getting it on the ballot in 11, right? Or are they talking about getting it on the November ballot?
No, I think on the November ballot.
Given what everybody's is portraying as an anti-incumbent mood among voters, if this were to happen, is this probably the best? Can you think of another time when voters have been this angry carte blanche with incumbents?
No, I mean this is an atmosphere where people are looking for ways to not just change, but to lash out against a whole series of things that are wrong in people's lives. That government becomes the focus, but you have to be able to channel that in ways that make sense to mobilizing voters, both in terms of getting people to sign it and then getting people to vote for it when it gets on the ballot. And what is at stake here is redistricting for the next decade. And you have a Democratic governor and a Democratic legislature. You've never had one party in control of the process. And so all of the interests that support the Democratic Party in Illinois, and that's a very broad coalition, or they would like to see how the election comes out, and they're really anxious to have a Democratic legislature and a Democratic governor draw the new map. And so you're not only is it just the people who have power in the system in general who are reluctant to kind of make a change or to step off into the unknown. But this becomes almost the holy grail in terms of from a partisan standpoint. If for the first time in Illinois history you can have one party in control of the whole process, then you don't have to go to commissions and drawing names out of a hat. And so the political forces are really going to be aligned against this.
Anything else?
Well,